Hi, my name is Drew Newman. In 1895, my great-grandfather, J.C. Newman, founded our family business. Four generations, or maybe five generations, and 125 years later, we are very proud to be the oldest family-owned premium cigar company in America. My great-grandfather, J.C. Newman, passed our family business down to my grandfather, Stanford Newman, who passed the business down to my father and uncle, Eric and Bobby Newman, and they're in the process of passing it down to my cousins, Dawson Paxton and me. And I'm joined here tonight by my son, William Stanford Newman. He's 12 weeks old, and his middle name, he's named for my grandfather, Stanford Newman, whose birthday we're celebrating tonight. He would have been 104 years old. And so we're a four-generation family business, the oldest family-owned cigar company in America. And we're so thrilled to have you here tonight to help celebrate my grandfather's 104th birthday.
Drew, what a happy baby.
I believe my father, Eric, and Uncle Bobby Newman are on as well. Unfortunately, Adria, I can't hear or see them, but Dad and Bobby, if you want to introduce yourselves, that would be great. And then we're excited to start talking about my grandfather, what's happening in our company, our 125th anniversary celebration, and take some questions as well. But Dad and Bobby, if you can introduce yourselves, and I think hopefully my video and audio will connect soon.
Absolutely. Eric, can you see me?
I can see you.
I can see you too.
I'm Eric Newman. This is like the Drew, Eric, and Bobby show. We're third generation, and it thrills me no end to welcome everybody here to help celebrate our father's 104th birthday. Bobby smoking a Diamond Crown Julius Caesar in honor of our father's birthday, and I know Drew's having trouble hearing or seeing anything. Maybe Adria can fix it up at that end. Hopefully people can understand what we're saying.
I'm still having some technical difficulties, and I want to pop back out and join once again. Hopefully that will resolve it. But Dad and Uncle Bobby, if you guys can start by talking about Stanford, my grandfather, your father, and this little guy's middle namesake, that would be great.
So let me finish my comments. And I know everybody was able to see I thought it was the fourth generation. He's actually the fifth generation, William Stanford Newman. He's making a surprise visit. William was he was 12 weeks old yesterday. Can you hear us now, Drew?
I sure can. Thank you. I see you, Dad. I see you, Uncle Bobby. So we have
Hi, Drew. Hi, William.
Newmans here.
William Stanford.
Drew Newman and William Stanford Newman.
Three generations of Newmans celebrating the birthday of a fourth generation.
That's right. That's right. So this is a really interesting year. We've been planning it for a while because it's our 125th anniversary. But plans change. But what do you think, Stanford? My grandfather, your father, this guy's great grandfather. What do you think he would have thought of this year, our 125th anniversary, with everything that's going on?
Eric, can I answer that?
Bobby. Go ahead, Bobby.
Dad would have said, you remember, he never panicked, never got riled. He said, listen, same thing. We've been through two world wars, the Great Depression, the Cuban embargo. This too will pass. And I tell you, if Drew, if Eric and Dad, Eric and my mother, Elaine Newman, and our father, Stanford Newman, if they were here, they would be just jumping out of their mind seeing little William Stanford. And he's such a happy baby. He reminds me a lot of myself, Drew.
That's wonderful.
Guess which one of us is in sales? Who tells the truth and who's in sales?
No. Dad would have, I'm serious, he would have said, this wouldn't have panicked. I was on the phone today with some people out west, and things are opening up, and now things may be getting more challenging with the coronavirus. But anyway, what we've found, people are, if they're staying home and had to stay home, they seem to be smoking more cigars. We're hearing that from everywhere, not only in the United States but in Europe.
But forgetting that for a second, Bobby, making it for 125 years, the oldest family cigar company in the country, 125 continuous years. To think that our grandfather started in the 1800s. He was born 1875, came to America with his four brothers, two sisters, settled in Cleveland, big Hungarian district in Cleveland. That's why they settled there. He couldn't speak English, had to get a job. His brothers became tailors, because as immigrants did. They made clothes. He didn't want to make clothes. So his mother paid a cigar maker $3 a month to teach his son how to make cigars. Great cigar apprentice. Went business for himself in 1895. And here we are, 125 years later. Same family, same industry. What's kind of interesting, Grandpa JC was a great cigar maker. He's one of the innovator, one of the first cigar manufacturers to bring innovative cigar machinery into the United States as labor-saving devices. And here we are in Tampa, celebrating our 125th anniversary. We have a renovation of our factory, which we'll talk about in a minute, I'm sure. We're also making cigars by hand. Not that much different than Grandpa JC made them 125 years ago. I can't think of any other product in America that's made the same way it was made 125 years ago. That's what makes it special. That's what makes the premium cigar industry special. And we're very proud to be a part of it. Again, celebrate our 125th anniversary.
That's so good, Bobby.
This is, to all of our listeners, thank you for this opportunity for let us come into your living room tonight. And listen, so Eric and the three of us, this is the first time we've done this, or the four of us with William Stanford, but we've done this on a call like this, a Facebook Live, and it makes me and obviously we'll play off of each other, because Eric maybe thought of something. When Grandpa JC started in 1895, it was before, obviously before Henry Ford started, and before it was about 9 years before Wilbur and Orville Wright did the plane. But they don't make, so the only industry I can think of off the top of my head, besides farming, of course, but they still make, my understanding, they still make Scotch and bourbon the same way that they did 1895. They still make it today the same way.
That's so true, Bobby. You're right that we're very blessed to be able to continue a 125-year family tradition, and exactly as what you said, we roll cigars today by hand, just like my great-grandfather did 125 years ago. So we know many of you out there tonight are lighting up and enjoying a cigar. Hopefully it's one of our families. But Bobby, I see you're outside right now. You've got a beautiful cigar. Can you talk about what you're enjoying tonight?
Absolutely. This is the Diamond Crown Julius Caesar. This is what Grandpa JC looked like. His name was Julius Neumann. He came over from the Austrian-Hungarian Empire in 1888 as a 13-year-old immigrant. And we are a land of foreigners. And to honor his 135th birthday, and this was Drew's idea, and I was against it. I said, Drew, we have enough Diamond Crown. We got the Classic, the Connecticut Shade, the Maximus. But so Drew, we spent about 2 years developing the cigar and the box. We went through many renovations, and many people don't realize this is probably the most famous Diamond Crown cigar, because it's our highest rated cigar. It is also, many people think it's just a Julius Caesar. That's why we keep telling the story that this is not Julius Caesar. This is Grandpa J.C. Newman. When he came to the United States in 1888, most people came from Europe, landed in Ellis Island. Grandpa J.C. came through Baltimore. I'm not sure why. Maybe you know, Drew. But so when he came in, he didn't have a middle name. So the story goes, he was very short for his age, 13 years old. The immigration officer, obviously through translators, Grandpa JC spoke German and Hungarian, and the immigration officer said, Hey, why don't you call yourself, your middle name could be Caesar. You could be Julius Caesar. And by the way, your new last name is Newman. And having Grandpa JC had a big ego, and he thought that was a great idea. So we, again, Drew's idea to come out with this for his anniversary of his 135th birthday. And it's been extremely successful. And it's sold not only in the United States, but all over the world.
Well,
Wonderful cigar.
Yeah, it looks beautiful tonight, Bobby.
Hmm.
And just seeing some of the comments out there, see that Mark Hayes is enjoying a Diamond Crown Julius Caesar tonight as well. And so is Valerie Bradshaw as well. And also see some folks are enjoying Diamond Crown Maximus. And thank you, Brian Bowe. And I also see some folks who are here from around the world, including from Argentina. Welcome. Hola, Ilio. So great to have you all here. If you're just joining us, my name's Drew Newman, fourth generation member of the J.C. Newman family, here with my 12-week-old son, William Stanford Newman, my father, Eric Newman, Uncle Bobby Newman, and we're joining you live tonight to celebrate what would have been the 104th birthday of my grandfather, Stanford Newman. So we're getting lots of questions online on Facebook and YouTube, Dad and Uncle Bobby. So let's take them. And then
Drew,
Bobby.
can I interrupt you for 1 second? Because Eric, can you see the questions? Because I can't.
No, Drew, take care of it, Bobby.
Okay. The other thing, Drew, I want to do a call out to our newest Diamond Crown Lounge, Patty and Mario from Cigar Life in Lakeland. So I'm sure they can hear us. They just sent this picture. They texted me this picture from their beautiful Diamond Crown Cigar Lounge. And if you look on the left, there's a 4-foot Diamond Crown Julius Caesar cigar, and on the right also a black diamond. So
wonderful.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Mario and Patty. We love you guys.
And I see on Facebook, Patty just noted that she's enjoying a Diamond Crown Julius Caesar 1895 series right now, which is great. And see, Jeff Huffman has lit up a Diamond Crown number 3 Maduro, which is great. But we do have some questions coming in, so let's take one. And one from Brian Bowe, who asked, what would Stanford Newman think of the American? So, Dad, what do you think your father would think of rolling all American cigars by hand in our beautiful Ybor City El Reloj cigar factory?
First of all, Dad would think that you're probably crazy. The same thing I thought when you first came with the idea about making handmade cigars in our Tampa factory, only because handmade cigars are best made in low-wage countries. At Penza, J.C. Newman, where we make our brick house and Quorum, labor is, it's 1/8 what it is in the United States. Or in other words, it costs 8 times to make a handmade cigar, just the labor in the United States than it does in Nicaragua or Dominican Republic or Honduras. So Dad would say, you'll never make money. You're going to lose money. But like every generation, our grandfather gave advice to my grandfather. I mean, Dad gave advice to Grandpa JC. Grandpa JC didn't always listen, of course. And Bobby and I gave advice to our father. Dad was more of a listener. He'd listen most of what we want to do, but not all the time. And just like you give Bobby and me advice. I mean, we're looking how we're running our business, and you come in our business. You've been with our business a few years now, and you say, Dad, why do we do it? Why do we such like this? Why are we doing it like this? Of course, I'd say, Drew, we were doing it like this because we always have. And you say, Dad, that's no answer. Of course, it is an answer. I think actually, Dad would be very proud of our company, of what we're accomplishing. This is our 4th generation. You're holding 5th generation. It's hard for families to continue in any industry. And I think, a few years ago, when Drew Estates, there's been a lot of consolidation, a lot of mergers in the industry. I think Drew Estates sold to Swisher, and which was kind of a natural event. I know Leva sold to Jay Cortez, and the Europeans are owning a lot of the American cigar companies. And I got a call from a company that said, what are we thinking about succession planning? That's the buzzword, succession planning. I never thought about it. I've been in business. This is my 48th year. It's Bobby's 45th year in the family business. And, as Dad said, nobody gets out of this world alive. That's what Dad Stanford would say. and we know sooner or later we're going to get out of this world alive. So what are we going to do with the company? We can't take it. But because of your interest, Drew, and same with Paxton and Dawson, we're ready. Bobby and I aren't ready to go play golf every afternoon and let you run the business. But the truth of it is, I've told people we've handed you the baton. We just haven't let go yet. We've handed you the baton, and because of your enthusiasm and passion for the business, Dad would be very proud that we have the fourth generation calling the shots in our business. Bobby, do you agree?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Bobby. It's a real privilege for all of us to be able to continue a tradition that my great grandfather started. Your grandfather started 125 years ago. And just looking through the comments, see that David Holland posted on YouTube that he's smoking an American right now. And so thank you very much for lighting it up. We're getting lots of questions coming in online and want to make sure that we have a chance to address them. One of them is from Jeff Skyver, who asked, what's the update on El Reloj, our historic factory that's under renovation right now?
Well, Drew, you want to answer? There goes the fifth generation.
Yeah, I think he's getting hungry right now.
Thank you, Ariel.
So, as many folks know, we're very proud to be a 125-year-old, four-generation American family business, and we're headquartered in a gorgeous 110-year-old cigar factory in Cigar City, USA, in Ybor City, the historic cigar district in Tampa, Florida. And 2 years ago, in preparation for our 125th anniversary, we decided that we needed to begin a major project to restore El Reloj, restore a beautiful cigar factory in Tampa, so that we can continue the American cigar making tradition and use our factory to showcase cigar making in America. Many people don't realize that the American cigar tradition dates back to before when we were even a country. Tobacco was grown in each of the 13 colonies, and George Washington, Thomas Jefferson grew tobacco, and so cigars are an important part of the American heritage. And what we've been doing is taking our beautiful 110-year-old cigar factory, restoring it to the way that it looked when it opened in 1910, and starting next month, we're going to open up to the public for tours and visits. We're building a beautiful new cigar museum and have space for events, a theater that will showcase old cigar films, which are really neat. We have a factory store there as well. And my favorite part is on the third floor. It's our new handmade cigar factory within a factory where we're rolling the American and other premium cigars by hand. It's just like folks go to Kentucky for the Bourbon Trail to see how spirits are made, or to California to tour wineries. We're building what should be the premier destination for cigar tourism in the United States, and it should open up in about a month. And so we're really excited and look forward to having all of you visit when it's safe to do so, and hope that you can come to Tampa, come to our factory, and celebrate our 125th anniversary with us. And so let's see. Let's take another question. Let's see. Antonin Peter from Cleveland, Ohio, has been checking in and asking about our founding in Cleveland. Dad, Uncle Bobby, you guys were born in Cleveland. What do you remember about our company and our family in Cleveland before the family business moved to Tampa in 1954?
I have only one memory of Cleveland, and that's when I was 2 or 3 years, probably 3 years old, and Eric was playing in the backyard. Remember there with a rake, and I got in the way, and Eric scraped across my head. Of course, I had no hair, and like now, and I remember a guy, Mom taking me to the emergency room. You remember that, Eric?
Like yesterday.
I'm
sorry, Bob. Did I ever apologize? I'm sorry. Anyway, Drew, as far as Bobby and I were born in St. Luke's Hospital, which is no longer around in Cleveland. And I don't have that many memories, but I've been cursed. I've been a Cleveland Browns fan and a Cleveland Indians fan all my life. What's the curse? The last time the Cleveland Indians won the World Series, I was 6 months old. I'm 72 years old. So the last time the Indians won the World Series was a long time ago. I just hope I will live long enough to see the Indians win the World Series one more time. That's my memory of Cleveland.
Wow. Well, we still have one old factory building left in Cleveland that my great-grandfather built and occupied. Our last factory in Cleveland in the 50s is still standing, but the original family home and the factories between then and 1895 and then 1947, unfortunately, have been lost to history. But there's a lot of history in our company. And actually, we've got a question coming in, Dad, from JJ. You know JJ, one of our wonderful friends,
JJ,
and Cigar Family members.
God bless him.
And Jay Davis there at Blue Smoke in Dallas said this is a great idea too. But JJ's question is, have you given any consideration of doing a grand opening of our factory in conjunction with the Ybor City Cigar Heritage Festival, which is a huge 10,000 person event in the Cigar City of Tampa that occurs every December? So Dad, Uncle Bobby, JJ's question, have you guys given any thought to that?
First of all, we talked about it yesterday, and how great would it be? It all depends upon what the travel restrictions are, if this coronavirus comes back or not. But I want to talk, just to mention a bit about JJ. I'm going to rag on you too, son. When you were 16 years, actually, when you were 14 years old, you started our Cigar Family website. So many years ago, you came to me and said, we need to have a website. And I said, son, what's a website? Said, Dad, we need to have a website. I'll design it. You were a little kid.
And 96.
And you worked with Carlos Fuente and yourself and me, and sure enough, but you drove it all, and in by 6 months we had the largest, most trafficked website in the whole industry. Then in 1998, you were 16. You're almost 17. You came with an idea that you wanted to have a reunion in Tampa, because we had a lot of people on the message board of our Cigar Family back in the late. This is before Facebook, before everybody talked to each other. They were communicating, and you said these people wanted to meet each other. I said, Drew, that's nice. That's not going to happen. Dad, they want to meet each other. We didn't need to have a meeting here in Tampa. Well, Drew, we are not a travel agency, but you're persistent like your mother. So in 1998, we started our Cigar Family Celebration, CFC, the first one in Tampa, which is before we had our Cigar Family Foundation, before we had the project, before we had the Cigar Family School. And we've had these reunions almost every year. And there has only been one person in the world that has come to all. We must have had over 20 reunions so far. That was JJ from Baton Rouge. So I would take my hat off to JJ, who was with us back in 1998. Actually, was a pretty hell of a golfer then too, but I don't know what happened. But like me, but he's been with every since of the time, every year, and he's also a great supporter of our Cigar Family project in the Dominican Republic, and it's and because of people like JJ is why we're here. So thank you, JJ.
It's so true. Well,
Thank
Dad,
you, JJ.
Let's turn to the Cigar Family project in a moment, but I just want to say for those who are joining us, and we're getting more folks tuning in on Facebook and YouTube, just to let you know what you're listening to. My name's Drew Newman, and I'm here with my father, Eric Newman, and Uncle Bobby Newman. We're the third and part of the fourth generation of the J.C. Newman Cigar Family. As a company and a family business, we're celebrating our 125th anniversary this year. But tonight we're coming to you live because it would have been the 104th birthday of my grandfather, the patriarch of our family after my great-grandfather, Stanford J. Newman. And so hope that you are enjoying a great Diamond Crown cigar or other J.C. Newman cigar wherever you are right now, like my uncle, a Diamond Crown Julius Caesar. And we're so happy to have you here live this Friday evening. But Dad, you mentioned a moment ago the Cigar Family project, And I want you to talk for a moment about what it is, because I think Cigar Family Charitable Foundation speaks to who we are as a family and what we value, but also really who the cigar community is together, and how cigar enthusiasts, it's more than just cigars. It's really about the community and giving back and culture. And as I send this question to you, I also want to point out that the doctor at our project, Dr. Nelson Suarez Collado, is online tonight, and he posted some comments, and so he's here listening in as well, and that's a great story too. So, Dad, what is the Cigar Family project that you mentioned a few moments ago?
You told me to be brief, son, right? Keep my
Please.
message short.
We have so many questions coming and want to make sure we get to as many as we can tonight. So, yes.
Okay, well, very, very briefly, in 2000, Carlos Fuente, Cleo, and I were traveling the Chateau de la Fuente. We saw some kids playing in the street, and he was explaining to me there's not enough classrooms in the Dominican Republic. So we just went through a cigar boom of the 90s. Nobody believed it was coming. And we both wanted to give back to the Dominican Republic for making the best cigars, for growing the best tobacco in the world. And we wanted to do something, so we we're going to build a wing on a school. Long story short, we were told that you don't want to build a wing on a school, you want to build your own school. So with a lot of effort, we built the Cigar Family Project. We, with the help of so many people, we started in 2004, grades pre-K to 8th grade. We had a high school in 2005, a medical clinic 2006. There's over 5,000 people using our school and the facilities during the year. This is our Cigar Family Project. As Carlito would say, it doesn't say Newman, it doesn't say Fuente, it says Cigar Family. Cigar Family is a very inclusive group. Anybody that believes in cigar just believes in helping people, giving them a helping hand. Our project is located in the Banao region of the Dominican Republic, one of the poorest areas of the Dominican Republic. And these are areas that have been impoverished for generations and generations. And the only way to break that cycle of poverty is through education. So we are very proud of our primary school, our high school, where 80% of our graduates go to college, and some come back as teachers, some come back as music instructors. But we are really thrilled. We had one of our early years, we had a little 11-year-old, one of our kids. And when he was a little kid, he said, I want to become a doctor when I grow up. He told that to his mother. His mother said, get that silly notion out of your head. Our kind of people, poor people, don't get an opportunity, if you're lucky, able to work on the Fuente tobacco farm. But Mom, I want to be a doctor. Anyway, he went to Cigar Family School, made like the top grades in the whole Cigar Family School, went to college, went to medical school. We're so proud of Nelson Suarez Collado. Now, fast forward, he is the medical director at our Cigar Family Medical Clinic. We are so happy, so proud of him. And I think everybody that's part of our cigar family, which is probably everybody tuning in this evening, should be very proud of what you've accomplished with Nelson. Just as an example, we've helped Nelson, we mean everybody that supports the Cigar Family. Now he's at the medical clinic. Not only is he at the health clinic, he also goes out into the community, helping people, getting blood pressure tests, giving basic medicine, making house calls, which is unusual in our country. Lord knows how many people that Nelson has helped and saved in the area and his local communities, all because of the support and love and the chance he has given in life by all of us through Cigar Family. And we're so proud of Nelson. Bobby, you saw Nelson a few weeks ago. A few months ago.
I was yes, and I don't know if Carlito and Ciro are listening in or watching it, but we were down in February. Ciro, we brought a group of people from Tampa, Marty Schaffel and some of his friends, and Ciro, we all, many of our hopefully listeners and viewers have been down to the Cigar Family Project. And when you go, that we always start at the medical clinic, and the students are standing outside waiting for us with American and Dominican flags. So we went through, and they welcome us in French and English and in Spanish, and So Ciro said, I have a surprise for you, Mr. Bobby. I said, okay, it's wonderful. And out pops up this handsome young man in his doctor suit, and it was Nelson. And oh my, I got so emotional in front of everybody. And here is Nelson. He started out as an 11-year-old, and now he's a doctor, full-time physician, running the Cigar Family medical clinic, saving lives every single day. I also want to say this: all those who have know about Cigar Family, it's the only nonprofit that I have ever heard of that if you give $1, all 100 cents goes to the Cigar Family, to the mission, goes down to the school, because our family and the Fuente family pay the administrative cost, which is our attorneys, marketing, and accounting. And it is, to quote Carlito, build it and they will come. It has been unbelievable what's happened down there. You talk about just breaking. Our goal is to break the chains of poverty, and we're doing that with the students. And we're so thrilled that they're coming back to teach at the school, like Nelson is. Impara, young woman who started there, is now in charge of the computer lab. So it's been a great. Every year it's getting bigger and better.
Well, that is certainly true. And so, Dad and Bobby, we're getting lots of questions and folks chiming in on Facebook and on YouTube as well. Bobby, there's a gentleman named Dylan Clark who says that he met you on his 21st birthday, and you
Right.
gave him a tour, and just he just loves our cigars and wanted you to know that he's tuning in tonight. JJ responded and says he's lighting up a Diamond Crown number 3 tonight. We've got Christopher Gomez who says aloha from Hawaii, and that Diamond Crown Black Diamond is one of his wife's favorite cigars. And Brian Diggins is talked about how he smoked a Cuesta sun-grown Centrofino with his son in Texas last month. And so there's just lots of folks online. So hello to Peter Shaw, one of our great friends in North Florida. And so it's just great being here with friends tonight because, you know, cigars for us are more than just a product. They really are something that is used for relaxation and enjoyment and celebration. And tonight we're coming together to celebrate my grandfather's, what would have been his 104th birthday. And it's great being here with so many friends. So Dad and Uncle Bobby want to make sure we can try to get to some more questions. So hopefully we can keep our answers short. But
Sure.
Kim
Is that
Brown,
a hint?
that is a hint. Kim Brown has a question, which is, what J.C. Newman cigar would you recommend for someone who's just starting out?
Probably a Diamond Crown Classic. It's rolled with genuine Connecticut shade. It's a lot of flavor, not real strong, but has flavor. We're, you know, the Fuentes Carrito makes our cigars for us, and he said one of the secrets of making a good cigar is using aged tobacco. He says people don't want stronger cigars. A lot of people just want to have a smooth cigar with flavor. It's a very creamy, rich tasting cigar. So a Diamond Crown Classic would be my favorite, like a cigar to smoke in the morning.
I agree. Yes.
Excellent. And, you know, Diamond Crown Classic is a great cigar to talk about tonight, too, because it's one of my great-grandfather's early cigar brands from the 1930s. But we as a family, and actually it was my grandfather, Stanford, who we're celebrating tonight, reintroduced Diamond Crown in 1995 to celebrate our family's 100th anniversary. And so this year is the 25th anniversary of the relaunch of Diamond Crown. It's our centennial cigar. It's a very special brand to us, and so that's a great a great cigar. Good, Bobby.
If Carlito were here, he would tell you that he does not make, in his factory, he does not make a better Connecticut shade cigar than the Diamond Crown Classic, and that is a lot to say. It's a great thing to say.
Absolutely. And speaking of Diamond Crown Classic, Valley Bradshaw wrote in with a question. asking about the a double fermentation process. One of the things that makes Diamond Crown Classic Cigars unique is not only does it wrapped with genuine Connecticut shade tobacco, but it's also double fermented. And so Valerie's question is, what is a double fermentation process, and what's the advantage of it, and what makes this wrapper so special?
After the tobacco is taken down in the barn, it is sorted and put in bales for a couple of years, and it starts to, for ferment, it gets bulk, and then after 1.5 to 2 years, the bulk is broken down again. It's sorted in, so selected. The leaves are sorted out for the thicker leaves, the thin leaves, and put in bulk a second time. It brings out a smoothness, a richness, a rosado color, and it makes just for a smoother, creamier taste. A lot of hand labor involved. In fact, most cigars, especially with the way the Fuente makes, they go through like 300 pairs of hands before time it goes from a seed bed and transplant all the way to its made. So it's a double fermentation that really counts for Diamond Crown Classics richness and creamy taste.
Thank you, Dad. And so just looking through the comments, I'll call her my aunt. Aunt Cynthia Fuente is listening tonight, and she wrote, happy heavenly birthday to Mr. Stanford Newman, sending my very best to all of you. Keeping your father and grandfather's memory alive is a beautiful and special thing. And she notes that she's joining us and celebrating my grandfather's memory in his 104th birthday by smoking a Diamond Crown Julius Caesar tonight. And so, our friendship, partnership, relationship with the Arturo Fuente family goes back to almost as long as I've been around. But Dad, Uncle Bobby, can you start by share the story of how we started, our family started working together in the 1980s?
Sure. We were always friends, good friends with the Fuente family. There used to be the Cigar Manufacturers Association of Tampa, and Dad was the president of it. And that's how we got to know the Fuentes as well as we did. And my father, people would come to us all the time. This was back in the early in the 70s and 80s, and people would come to us from Honduras and said, "We'd love to make cigars for you." And my dad, and I'll say this, I don't know if you know this, Drew, but Dad said he didn't have a good feeling about those who offered to make cigars. We were making Cuesta all long filler on 4 operators on these hand-operated machines, but people love Cuesta, but they wanted them handmade. We had a leverage buyout, February 14th, 1986. Eric, Dad, and I bought all of our 14 relatives out, and it's in the book Cigar Family. You can see it at jcnewman.com. But 3 or 4 weeks after a leverage buyout, Carlos Fuente Sr. called my father, and he wanted to talk to him. Came over to see Dad, and Carlos. This was again 1986. Carlos and the Fuente family had been in the Dominican Republic since 1980, 6 years. He wanted to concentrate on that factory, that relatively new factory. He wanted to shut his factory down on 22nd Street, and where he was in Tampa, he's making a brand called Moya, M-O-Y-A. They're a bundle of cigars. They're on these hand-operated machines, and he asked Dad if we would make them. And Dad said, sure, but we would like to also get back in the hand cigar making business. And we had an old brand called La Unica. So Carlos Fuente, he picked the 4 sizes, and it was Connecticut Shade and Connecticut Broadleaf on the Maduro. And that is that was 36 years ago. And that's how we got together.
It's amazing.
It's been an amazing ride. It's helped thousands of people down in the Dominican at Cigar Family School because of this relationship.
Wonderful. I can't remember a time when our families weren't partners and friends, and it's just I think it's a real blessing to us. One of the things I think about when I walk into a beautiful cigar store, whether it's Peter Shaw's store or Cigar Life in Lakeland, Florida, or others. I know there's or Jay Davis's store in Dallas, and some of the other retailers that are online tonight. Is when I walk into a beautiful humidor, there's wonderful cigars from all over the world on the shelves, but there are only 2 cigars that come from 100-plus-year-old, 4-generation family businesses, and those are our Toro Fuente cigars and J.C. Newman cigars, and we're very lucky to be able to continue this family tradition that now is celebrating its 125th anniversary this year.
Hey, Drew, I just got a
Sure.
text from Michael Doherty. Hi, Michael. And he said, can you please talk about Stanford's involvement with Cameroon tobacco, which is incredible.
That's a great that's a great question. And so, Dad Kawabi, how did we get started with Cameroon?
Well, you have to thank Fidel Castro. We moved from Cleveland to Tampa. There were 10 big family-owned companies making Cuban cigars. Got a Cuban filler, Cuban binder, Cuban wrapper. And then in January of '62, President Kennedy announced a Cuban embargo. I mean, you can't get anything from Cuba then. You still can. So many of our competitors went out of business, shut their doors, merged with other companies up north. But Dad, our grandfather, our father, your grandfather was bound and determined to keep making cigars in Tampa. He discovered a new type of tobacco called Cameroon wrapper, African Cameroon wrapper. Very expensive. And back in the early 1960s, every factory was making a 26-cent Palma. The standard premium cigar back in the early 60s was 6 1/4, 42 ring. Now it looks like a Panatella. That was the standard size. Always sold for 26 cents. Well, Dad started experimenting with this Cameroon wrapper, and it was wonderful. But he couldn't make any money, lose money at 26 cents. So he found a way to have a different package. Most cigars are pressed. He kept the cigars in a round, put it in a very expensive redwood box, put 2 bundles of 25 of Cuban packing. He came up with a cigar called the Questre number 95 out of Cameroon wrapper, and that really made Questre one of the top-selling premium cigars in the 60s and 1970s. So it's we owe a lot to the Cameroon wrapper. And we started using it. Our partners, the Fuente, started to use it, and it's really hard to get. But right now, one of the secrets of the Fuente success, one of many of them, they use Cameroon wrapper first on their 858s, then all the famous Hemingway cigars. My favorite Fuente made cigar of all the Fuente brand is the Don Carlos. It's not an FFO, it's the Don Carlos. That was Carlos Fuente Sr.'s favorite cigar. He and I had a similar taste profile. He loved Cameroon, loved Don Carlos. That's my favorite Fuente cigar as well.
And also, to our knowledge, the Fuente family are the only manufacturers in the world using Cameroon on handmade cigars, and kudos to the Fuente family. Of course, they make all of our Dominican cigars as well.
That's wonderful. And speaking of the Questre number 95, that really, I think it's hard to describe how impactful of a cigar that was in the 1960s and 70s, but it really was the flagship premium cigar sold in the United States. Dad and Uncle Bobby, Nick Pasilopoulos, our brand new factory store manager, says he's smoking one right now, a Questre number 95. Right. And for those of you who are going to be coming and visiting us in Tampa at our El Reloj factory, when we open it back up to the public in a few weeks, you're going to meet Nick, and he can tell you more about the Questre number 95. But Dad and Kawabi, can you talk about Questre number 95 and sort of my grandfather Stanford's vision and creating it and selling it and its effect on the cigar industry in the 70s, 60s, 70s, and 80s?
Our father used to say that if you copy someone, you don't deserve to be successul. Many people in our industry copy, like they copy the Fuentes by when Carlito put, the Fuentes were the first manufacturer to put ribbon on the bottom of their cigars, and everyone copied them. So my father loved packaging, and he used to go to Moss Brothers in Tampa, was owned by Allied Department Store with Mom, and he was looking at packaging, and he was fascinated by the number one selling perfume at the time was called Chanel Number 5. Dad loved that name, Number 5, and he came up with the word number. The number 95 came from Chanel Number 5, and it was interesting that what you said, Eric, a few minutes ago. When we came to Tampa, there were 10 large factories making over 500 million cigars a year using Cuban wrapper, Cuban binder cap, and Cuban filler. Comes the embargo. So, Drew, I didn't know this. And I remember your Dad said this before he died, that Cuesta-Rey, and Dad bought the Cuesta-Rey brand in 1958. But Cuesta-Rey was a Cuban wrapped Cuban binder, Cuban filler cigar, until we ran out of Cuban tobacco, and his dad switched to Cameroon. But when Eric was talking about the 26-cent cigars, or two for 55 cents, that was the highest price you could get. And my dad, your grandfather, Drew, had a lot of cojones and a lot of creativity, because he came out with this Cuesta-Rey 95 that Eric was saying. Cigar was in the round. Everything else in the industry was like Bearing Plazas, Perfecto Garcia, everything was box pressed. And the cigar, people loved the taste. Listen, when Dad came out with Cuesta-Rey, a Cameroon wrapper, people couldn't even pronounce Cameroon. No one even knew where the country was. Of course, today the world has gotten smaller, but it certainly helped. It built our business and built our partner's business, the Fuentes, as well.
That's fantastic. So we've got a lot of great comments coming in. Gerald Zimmerman, Bobby says he met you several times at the Rocky Mountain Cigar Festival, and
Right.
And says that he's lighting up a Diamond Crown Black Diamond tonight to help celebrate my grandfather, Stanford Newman, what would have been his 104th birthday. Dan Magris, our wonderful regional sales manager in the Mid-Atlantic, is celebrating with a Diamond Crown Julius Caesar Toro. And Dad, it's funny you mentioned the beautiful Arturo Fuente Don Carlos cigars, because Mills Lott, our regional sales manager in the Carolinas, is smoking a Don Carlos number 3 right now. And another comment's coming in from Facebook from David Casella in Atlantic Beach, Florida, who wanted to share a story that Henry Frampton, one of our longtime sales representatives in Northeast Florida, had an event at Edwards Cigar Shop in Jacksonville Beach in 1998 with Cuesta-Rey number 95, just like you mentioned, that La Unica cigar, the number 300, and he's been smoking our J.C. Newman cigars ever since then. So thanks so much.
Thank you,
David. And so, again, we're so grateful to the friends around the world who enjoy our family cigars, who are with us here tonight, and certainly with us in spirit as well. Just want to let everyone know that we've got about 10 minutes left on this live broadcast before it will end, and also want to congratulate a couple of winners in advance of this broadcast. We did a social media contest for questions, and want to congratulate Kim Brown, Teresa DiPaolo, our importer in Australia, Cigar Specialist Australia, and Cigar Guy 18 for submitting some really great questions that we've been talking about this evening. And our wonderful social media director, Adria, will be in touch with you soon and be sending a really cool J.C. Newman 125th anniversary backpack to each of you very soon. And
Thank
so
you.
also want to welcome and thank William Cooper, Cigar Coop. Thanks so much for tuning in to night. And it's amazing. For those who don't know, Cigar Coop's one of the biggest cigar media reporters online, and his grandfather shares the same birthday as my grandfather, Stanford Newman. And so William Cooper, thanks so much for chiming in, and happy birthday to your grandfather as well. And so Angela Yu, one of our great retailers from California and from Florida soon, is joining us as well. And so we've got lots of friends here too. And thanks also to to Rick Green, who's smoking his second Brickhouse Mighty Mighty Maduro that was recommended to him by Jake Cronin, our regional sales manager in St. Louis. Second today. Wow, that's really great. So we're so happy to have so many friends online tonight, including also John Oliva, our wonderful Florida sales representative as well. But since we only have a few minutes left, let's get back to some questions and just hopefully have some brief answers. But
what's your point?
Well, Max Weitzel wrote in on Facebook, what's next on the horizon cigar-wise? Do we have any new cigars coming out? And so, Dad, Uncle Bobby, we don't want to spill all the beans, but can we share a little about some of the exciting new cigars that we'll be introducing this year?
Sure, Eric.
First of all, we come out with we have a Pearl Del Mar cigar that we make in Nicaragua in our factory, J.C. Newman, Penza, and we're reworking that Pearl Del Mar Corojo, which will be introduced in a couple months, which will be pretty cool. We're having a new Havana Q, a cigar that's made. It's kind of like a Quorum, except it's made with Havana seed wrapper from Ecuador, courtesy of the Oliva family, to the John Oliva family. Not total courtesy; we pay them money for it, but it's their wrapper.
Great tobacco.
Finally, we're doing something that just having fun. Cigars can be a fun type of enterprise. There was one of the fellows that we have two people who run our factory in Nicaragua, Omar Itez and also Lazaro Lopez. Lazaro's an old Cuban guy. His father used to smoke a cigar called Yagua. Yagua is part of a palm tree. It's like it's a cover of a palm tree, and it sometimes hits the ground. But you see it on palm trees, and I've come up with a new cigar called Yagua. It's a cigar that's made with Connecticut broadleaf. It's put in a Yagua press, so it's maybe have like 5 or 6 or 7 sided cigar. We age it for about 9 to 12 months. We put it in a crate. We're only making, we have 1,200 boxes. We're going to give to our salesmen on allocation. And when they're gone, they're gone. We're going to release it again a year from now. And it's just, we don't know where it is. It's just going to be fun. Of course, we plan, it takes 3 years to plan for a new launch of a cigar. It's very unusual for us to come out with one cigar, let alone 2 or 3. Of course, we planned on this before there was coronavirus, before there was a trade show that was canceled. But we've been working on this for a year. So we have new cigars coming to the smoke shops in early fall, and we are excited about that.
Excellent. So, Dad and Uncle Bobby, we only have about 5 minutes left. And so as we wrap up this live broadcast celebrating what would have been the 104th birthday of my grandfather, your father, Stanford J. Newman, a real cigar industry legend, want to ask each of you if you have a specific memory or saying or just a piece of wisdom that Stanford shared with you that you guys keep in your mind that you want to share with our viewers tonight. And so just like a little sort of nugget of wisdom. And if you're ready to go, we can go. If you guys need to think about it, I can share mine first.
I got, one, Drew,
Go ahead, Dad.
So with Grandpa JC, to be successful in business, you have to work hard and you have to work smart, but it takes a certain amount of luck. Maybe that's more my wisdom than Dad's wisdom, but that's what I sincerely believe. I used to tell that to Dad in our business. We went through a cigar boom. We were very lucky. I got in business in the 70s. In the 80s, the cigar business really, it sucked. It was going down 5% a year, not only for us, for the whole industry. Then we had a cigar boom in the 90s. I told Dad one time, our father, we're very lucky that we have a cigar boom. We have a business here, and we're just lucky. And Dad said, you make your own luck. Well, I have a little bit different tact. I believe hard work, working hard, working smart, and it takes a certain amount of luck. There's no reason any company should be around for 125 years. When your great grandfather, J.C. Newman, founded our company back in 1895, there were 42,000 licensed cigar manufacturers making cigars. You have to have a license to make cigars in order to pay federal excise taxes. Of those 42,000 cigars manufacturers from 1895, we are the only one that's left. It's owned and operated by the founding family. All the other ones are gone. Are we that much smarter? Maybe yes, maybe no. But we worked hard. We were fortunate along the way. One of our also good fortunes was joining forces with the Carlos Fuente family 36 years ago. So we've been lucky. We've been fortunate. We work hard, and we're very happy to be where we are.
Thank you,
Bobby?
Dad. And Bobby, before you share your wisdom, can you hold up and show to the camera, show what you're holding? So what you're holding is my grandfather Stanford Newman's book. It's called Cigar Family, A 100-Year Journey in the Cigar Industry, published by Forbes. It was published in 1997, I believe, 97 or 88, 98. But I'm sharing it because it's just a great book on the history of cigars, history of our family. But it's also available for free as an ebook on our jcnewman.com website. So if you go to jcnewman.com and go and read about our family, at the bottom of that page, there are links to my great-grandfather's book, Smoke Dreams by J.C. Newman, and Cigar Family by Stanford J. Newman. But want to put a plug in for that. But Uncle Bobby, what is this piece of pearl of wisdom that Stanford Newman, your father, shared with you that you've carried to this day?
Probably the most powerful thing, and was, and I was looking at some of the comments Dad said at the end of the book, but always treat your employees well, be fair, treat your customers, treat your suppliers, and take care of yourself personally. If you're not healthy, you can't help yourself, you can't help your company, you cannot help your family. Take care of yourself physically, mentally, and spiritually, and thank God every day. He used to talk about the man who cried and cried because he had no shoes until he saw the man who had no feet. And you think about that, and obviously every day. I will say, Drew, in 30 seconds, last night we had with Jeff Borshowitz, we had a cigar blog. It was an hour. It turned into be 2.5 hours with the horse soldier folks. And our family, we started a program in 2006. We provide to the United States military for free guide dogs and post-traumatic stress dogs. And I want to tell everyone, if you know a veteran, it doesn't matter how old, a young, male, female, that needs a guide dog, God forbid, or a service dog, the best thing, contact Adria and she'll give me the information. And there's no charge. We cover all 50 states. It's a wonderful program. We have 22 veterans a day killing themselves. We've never lost one of our veterans who uses one of our guide or service dogs.
What a wonderful program, Uncle Bobby. And that's the Pulse for Patriots program, partnered with Southeastern Guide Dogs. And so I'll share my piece of wisdom that my grandfather, Stanford Newman, instilled with me. But I want to note that my aunt, Cynthia Fuente, is commenting, too, that she always remembers that Stanford wore red or yellow ties and always dressed up in suits. He was a very elegant man, and he and my grandmother, Elaine Newman, were just very elegant and classy. And that kind of speaks to the piece of wisdom that really sticks with me the most. My grandfather, Stanford, used to talk to me all the time about quality and how everything that we need to do needs to be quality because customers are paying for it, because our name is on it, our reputation, because we're a family business. And so he was a big believer in not taking shortcuts and investing in the highest quality tobaccos. As my uncle said, investing in his people, investing in the packaging, because at the end of the day, our cigars, our product, they're very personal to us. It's our family business for 125 years, and a commitment to quality is something that has enabled us to be successful. And as my father said, outlasted the other 42,000 cigar companies from 1895 and still be around here today. And so as my cousins and I are learning the business from my father and my uncle, we remember that one of the important points of wisdom from my grandfather, Stanford, was a focus on quality.
Hey, Drew.
And so, Uncle Bobby, go ahead.
30 seconds. We are all our family, and I never speak for the Fuente family, but I know they feel the same way. We are all standing on the shoulders of giants. Arturo Fuente, who started in 1912, and then Carlos Sr. took over, and then I was Carlito and Cynthia, and they have children, and just like Eric and I are standing on Stanford's shoulders, who stood on Grandpa JC's shoulders, and you and Dawson and Paxton will be standing on our shoulders. And hopefully someday, God willing, William Stanford Newman will be standing on your shoulders.
That is true. It's a real privilege to be continuing this family tradition. And so as we wrap up, just want to thank everyone from around the world, from Argentina, from Australia, from Hawaii, who've checked in tonight and are watching this video live. Thank you so much for joining us. My family and I really appreciate it. Again, my name is Drew Newman, fourth generation member of the J.C. Newman cigar family, with my father and uncle Eric and Bobby Newman, third generation members of our family business. We're celebrating our family's 125th anniversary all this year, and tonight we're celebrating my grandfather Stanford Newman's 104th birthday. And just again, as we wrap up, hope that all of you can enjoy your favorite J.C. Newman cigar soon, and please come visit us in the historic cigar city of Tampa, Florida, in our beautifully restored El Reloj cigar factory when it reopens to the public next month. And so thanks again for joining us tonight, and hope you have a great rest of your evening. Good night.
Good night,
everybody.
All right.
Thank you.